Now, indeed, you're very welcome to a What Matters programme this afternoon with John Prendergast in the company of Dr. Mary Honan and Pat Barry here at LiRmedia.tv, a station that is very rapidly developing in all sections. Fantastic sports programme just gone. You cannot be serious. Something I say every day of my life with politicians. You cannot be serious, but it's a brilliant programme, receiving great reviews, and also the Wild Geese, very important programme that Dr. Mary Honan does, because it simply zones in on the Irish immigrant all over the world, and God knows we have so many of them. And I'm delighted to be joined by Councillor Kenneth Collins of Sinn Féin, representing the constituency of Cork. Ken, it's great to talk to you.
Thank you, John.
Ken, I'm just reading something here which is very intriguing. What one might say politically, the cat among the pigeons. It says Fine Gael has been told by the parliamentary party it needs to prepare for a general election as soon as possible. Minister for Rural and Community Development, Michael Ring, is understood to have told the meeting on Monday evening, just yesterday, that the grassroots of the party do not want the proposed coalition with Fianna Fáil, and that the general public don't have an appetite either. He must be like Sinn Féin, in fairness to Michael Ring. He actually must be the only politician that I'm aware of that is in touch with the grassroots, that are totally dissatisfied with the carry-on of Fianna Fáil. In fact, actually, Fine Gael are actually in better standing. And it would appear that it's just a power struggle within Fianna Fáil. And a lot of the grassroots that I personally know, very good, hard-working men and women of Labour, Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, are absolutely disgusted with the way this whole train of negotiations and talk and innuendo, Ken, have gone since the general election. Just coming to that on a political level, what's your feeling on it?
Well, my feeling on that is, you know, back in February when the election happened, there was the people went out and they spoke their names to the ballot, and they voted for change. In that, you know, we were mandated. We got 37 seats.
Yes.
We secured 37 seats. And I suppose back to what you were saying, you know, in a recent poll, we're above what we were back then.
Yes.
In relation to the poll, Fine Gael are seen as the government. We're seen as the opposition now. Like, you know, where Fianna Fáil was on 14%. So, you know, do the electorate want another election this time? You know, with COVID, you're talking, you know, how could this be managed? You know, we're all into social distancing. It's a new phenomenon now that we're living with. I'm like, how do we see this going forward? What I see is that a left party, a left government should be in government now, and let us go in and run the country the way we want to run it, how to run it, and we know how to do this. We have people in our party, very educated people, Owen O'Brien, Pierre Starty, Mary Lou MacDonald. You know, people have asked and want us to be in government, and I believe that we should be there.
Yeah, you see, this is the problem. It's like the will of the people have been taken, put in a box and used by Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael as their own, which in fact it is not. Now, we all know, as you just said, Pierce Doherty, Mary Lou MacDonald in the north of Ireland, Michelle O'Neill, very capable lady. And also in the south, we have great people like Simon Coveney in Fine Gael, like we have Michael McGrath in Fianna Fáil. I cannot for the life of me, for the sake of the country, for the good of the ordinary man, woman, child in this country, I cannot understand, Ken, why three vibrant parties, between the three of them, got a massive mandate at the last general election by the Irish people. I cannot understand why they cannot come together and form a form of national consultancy party, even if it was for 2 years, because the parties are forgetting something very, very rapidly that's coming down the line. Brexit. It's on our doorsteps. It's going to cause massive havoc. I'll give you an example now. Uber are letting go 3,000 people, and they're based in Ireland, and some of that Irish operation is going to be affected. We have Debenhams closed in Limerick and all over the country. Hundreds of jobs gone, and this is only the start. So if politicians have received, local government and national government have received mandates and approval from the party, I cannot understand why they just can't come together and just form a policy to guide us through.
Well, I suppose Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael are trying to do that at the moment, you know. Civil war politics are well in play here, you know. I believe, you know, leave them go into government. They don't have the numbers. The Green Party, I don't think this talks will not happen. It won't work out the way that they want. You're on about a power grab. You're correct there. You know, Micheál Martin, all he wants to be is Taoiseach of this country. Where Mary Lou wants to be Taoiseach for the people, you know, to represent the people. I believe, you know, that we as a party are very much capable of doing the job here. They have said it in recent debates before the election that they will not go into government with us. They won't go into government with each other. They won't go into, you know, so where do you go? If a government is formed, it won't last 2 years.
Yes.
And I believe that. Like, you
know. Well, I think journalists out in the national newspapers and general media are saying that as well. It's too rocky. Yes. And it's all going to be for the sake of PR standing. They are saying that Fianna Fáil has lost its vision of coping and looking after the ordinary people. Now, we do need big business. We do need multinationals in this country for multiple employment, multiple taxation for the revenue, because people's pensions cannot be paid without it. But for the last couple of years, Ken, and you have seen it in Cork, you've seen it all over the constituencies right across the country, people are losing their homes, have lost them, farms have been literally repossessed, and now the central bank have said, which God help us, I hope doesn't happen, there's a real threat of further arrears coming down the line. I mean, we'll be wiped out if that happens.
We will, of course, and I suppose at the moment, you know, we were just after digesting the last recession, just barely after digesting it, and people are still feeling the effects of that. And we're running into this one here, and it's going to affect a lot of people. The only thing is, you know, we need to, as a government, we need to stand up, whoever that government is, and be counted and put the banks and explain to the banks in a nice way, in a nice manner, to say, you know, these people, when had funds, were able to pay their bills, were able to pay their farm bills or whatnot. But going forward, we need to be firm with the bankers, very, very firm.
And the government parties are not doing that. I mean, Fine Gael were in power for the last couple of years, aided and abetted with Fianna Fáil. And it would appear to me that the central bank and the banks under them had free rein. Then we had those awful, I'm sorry for saying this, and this is my own personal opinion, foreign gangsters of vulture funds that came into this country, aided and abetted again by the present government. And, you know, this is where I think, looking at past general elections, why the sway is to Sinn Féin, from my own personal opinion, is they want something different. They're tired of home repossessions. People are lost their homes. Some people are still living in cars. The penny dinners and soup kitchens have quadrupled in the last 2 years, right across the country. So government policy, a policy of all political parties, has to zone in on the needs of the Irish people. So do you think that Sinn Féin will be able to do that?
I believe we will. I believe that we are the party that will stand up for the people rather than up for the big bankers, you know. I mean, what was done was with the tracker mortgage scandal that time was 100% illegal, you know, and you had people unfortunately lost their lives because they couldn't cope with the stress, they lost their homes, they lost everything. Families split up over it. So, you know, as a party, we are there, we will represent the people. I think Pierre Starty, if we were in government, would be a fantastic Minister for Finance. He has proven himself in the past, and he's a person that, you know, he's an educated man, you know, and he doesn't take no for an answer until he gets the correct and right answer, you know.
Now, like in the piece I just read out there as well, the Fine Gael people are unsettled about this Fianna Fáil move. Could we get a general election in the next couple of months before the end of the year? If the COVID pans out, we'd say it'll never go away in the next couple of years. We're going to live with it. We have to live with it. But even with the restrictions, could another election be called?
I believe so, and I was listening to another radio station earlier on, and a commentator on that said that we would gain by 15% or 15 seats.
Yes.
You know, he believes that Sinn Féin would gain out of this, like, you know, because people are sick of it. They just want someone to represent them in a proper manner, in a proper way. But, you know, not only that, like, you know, you've the way things are being run, and central government grants to local authorities, and, you know, people are paying their local property tax.
Yes.
It's supposed to go back into the local economy, and it doesn't. You know, so it's going to be an election. Will it be called? It'll be very hard to run an election while COVID, because people are very nervous, and people that vote are the elderly. And for the elderly to go out, and they'll find it hard unless it's in a proper way. I don't know how it will be managed in the next few months. I can't see an election happening in the next few months over, especially over COVID, like, you know.
If talks did break down, which they could very well be, I know there are certain media stations out there that are promoting Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, thanks be to God. At long last, LiRmedia.tv have an independent, scrutinising voice. But if they break down, would there be or could there be an approach made to Sinn Féin?
I think we are ready and we are willing to run this country and to get us through this emergency, and it's going to be an emergency. We are ready. Left-leaning parties and independents are ready to support us as well. I believe, you know, I personally believe that if we were in opposition, we would hold the government to task. If we were in government, we would run the country as good as anybody else. And as Arthur now, and as a Sinn Féin member and a local councillor, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it because, you know, people want us in. People want us to represent them as well. And that happened back there in the last election, you know.
I wonder, though, has the Taoiseach Cllr for Adcar, Micheál Martin, bitten off more than they can chew, and it might come back to haunt him yet, saying that we will not talk to Sinn Féin. I mean, that is, I don't know, is that political suicide, or is it juxtapositioning, you know, later on down the line? I don't know why any seasoned politician would make such a very narrow-minded and obviously stupid remark.
Yeah, I suppose back during the debates in the election, you know, you would Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil saying that they wouldn't be talking to each other either. Now they are. They're cozying up to each other. Ourselves, you know, I know there's a lot of you hear on the ground, a lot of Fianna Fáil members, you know, would like to go into government with Sinn Féin.
Yes.
You know, with Micheál Martin's way he acts, it's like a personal attack on Sinn Féin members and the Sinn Féin party from himself, that he would never, his opinion, he would never, Fianna Fáil, as I'm the leader of Fianna Fáil, will never go into government with Sinn Féin.
But maybe he's the wrong leader. Grassroots people have told me that in Limerick and Kerry. You know?
So, but that's up to Fianna Fáil members for them to look after that side with themselves, rather, you know. But which is stupid. It's like ourselves in Cork City Council here. The last council we had the hunt system in. It was fantastic. It worked very well. We had a bad election back 12 months ago, actually, just short of 12 months. And we lost 4 seats, and we pushed the last council to have the Dahan system. It worked. Where now the pact is back in Cork City Council again. You have the Green Party, actually you have the Green Party, Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, all in the pact for the chain, for the SPC chairs and outside bodies. Like, we were all excluded from it, like,
But
So,
that's so undemocratic, it almost beggars belief.
yeah. Yeah, it is very undemocratic. I mean, I was elected to represent the people of Cork.
Of course.
And that's the way I look at it. I'm elected by an area, but I represent the whole of Cork City as well.
Yes.
You're making decisions on statutory business that have to be made, and some of them are tough decisions. But you go and you fight, and you represent the people of Cork as much as you can.
Yes, of course. And a great city and county that it is in Cork. The one thing I was going to ask you was, there are indications. I mean, of course, we know, Ken, that the national debt is about 220 billion at the moment. Now, the estimates are that by the time the COVID is suppressed in a couple of months' time, not gone away, we have to be very careful in that, controlled, if we are lucky, that it will be adding another 25 or 30 billion to the national debt. Indications are that property tax will go up, road tax will go up, household charges will come in, including the water tax. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I suppose, look, unfortunately, there was an emergency, there was a pandemic, emergency measures had to be taken and had to be brought in. But the taxpayer and the household is going to hit the brunt of it as well. Look, we have an Apple tax there that's sitting in a bank account,
That's. I scratch my head. I don't know what the hell this is about. I don't know.
Exactly.
I mean, if I was in the finance department and the Minister of Finance and I said, right, there's 13 billion there, surely be to God, he could go to the European Commission or the European Centre and say, look, we have an urgent situation here. We have a national crisis of housing here. Can we use a third of it that might be allocated to us at the end of the day? And no, we just seem to go and just borrow. And then the ordinary man, woman, and child in the future is going to have to pay for it. I don't know what it is. It's like Sinn Féin being excluded from certain sections within the Cork Council. It's like as if the ordinary man and woman in this country don't matter to politicians, to certain politicians. That's the way I look at it now.
Exactly, big business. Big business will win out in this. Unfortunately, the homelessness as well is something that you have hoteliers actually, and they're making money out of this because there's nowhere to put the people into a hotel, and the hotel is booked out. People are chucked out because they can get bigger fund. It's all about your back pocket at the end of the day. The Apple, that Apple, it's only up the road for me, literally 2-minute drive up the road from where I am now at the moment, Apple Computers in Cork. And yes. I just can't believe, the fact that money is sitting there and that we're in court fighting against that judgment.
And the thing is, Ken, I mean, Apple have paid it.
Yes.
It's in an escrow account. It's there. We're not castigating Apple. I mean, the taxation laws need to be changed, not by Apple. They just worked within the law that they didn't do anything wrong and they paid over the 13 billion. And still, our government don't see
fit. Want it, let you hold on to that. No, it's,
I don't know. Some very serious questions have to be asked by certain ministers, and at least Michael Ring of Fine Gael came out and he said, look, the grassroots don't want, they're not happy with this. I have a funny feeling any programme for government will be rejected by the respective grassroots parties. I have a funny feeling because I'm hearing it myself, and I do not believe anything or most of what journalists write in certain newspapers and particularly RTE, because they're just prone government, whoever is in, because they're the paymasters. So look, I take what they say as a grain of salt. In fact, actually, I'm just going to divert for 1 minute. A thought came into my head there. Am I being oversimplistic or cynical? How come that since March into April and into the first week of May, we had 49 deaths, 39, 29, 55, hundreds of diagnoses. And all of a sudden, Harry Potter has come over from his magical castle in the UK and sort of said, waved the magic wand and said, look, we've only minimum deaths. I'm being cynical. What do you think could be going on? Or could it be medically factual?
I suppose I actually don't know, but I believe 2 of those deaths to do with COVID, just they were back in March, weren't they? Were, so
I know.
And the thing about it here is people, again, are afraid to pick up the phone. The undiagnosed cancer patients, that's happening.
That's very serious.
Is there going to be a surge of that happening now because the cancer...
It has started now. It has started. The major increase in the A&E and all of that, now it's piling up and the pressure is going to come in on that as well. There was another matter I wanted to discuss with you, and it's a Sinn Féin member actually just said it to me in North Cork. And he said, with the Supreme Court judgment on Gerry Adams, that he and associates were illegally imprisoned in the 70s. Does that not make it even more bitter and hard to swallow that people like Bobby Sands and others died unnecessarily? And should the British government now be held accountable?
Of course. I mean, whether or which they died unnecessarily to be allowed to die on hunger strike for their own reasons, and to, again, they went on hunger strike for, to have political status and, 5 demands and the demands that were there. But, the British government knew what was happening at all times. It was being reported back on a daily basis. So what happened then was illegal. But no, in a court of law have now come out and said it has been illegal. They're after opening up.
A huge.
Oh my God Almighty!
I don't know. But if I was a member of any of the families of the hunger strikers, I'll tell you, I would be very, very deeply angry at that as well. And that's from a humane point of view, not talking about a political point of view. We just have to wait and see what's going to happen in the very near future between now and Christmas. The estimates are by the CSO and others that a lot of businesses won't reopen. In excess of 300,000 unemployed for the foreseeable future. That is so frightening.
Very, very frightening. You have the small businesses that were just keeping their head above water.
Yes.
Just coming in and hitting everybody. Unfortunately, you have those businesses and those family businesses that have been in business for generations. Yeah. The doors are never opening again. It's terrible.
It's awful. Well, as they say, we're going to watch this space with great interest. I think by this day next week, there will be a very serious or a very clear indication of fatalities again and new case diagnosis. And we're going to wait and see if there is an increase, and that's going to be extremely worrying. But one professor did say COVID-19 in Ireland, as well as abroad, is here to stay.
Yeah.
So our normal day-to-day life is now changed completely for the next couple of years anyway. Yeah.
I suppose, look, it's a vaccine, and they're working hard. These big multinationals are working hard to try and get a vaccine. But I think we're definitely 12 months, 18 months out to have that vaccine put in place. And you wonder then, going forward, do you go into a country, do you have a vaccine passport?
Yes.
You don't have your vaccine, receive that vaccine, you're not allowed in. Is that the way it's going to happen? Because countries will have to stand up and protect their citizens as well as we would, But, you know, again, you know, there was mistakes made during the COVID. You
Yes.
know, we're an island nation. You know, we have a moat around us. We could have locked down the ports. We could have locked down the airports.
Yes.
Not leaving the Italian fans in for a weekend in Ireland. And,
or people out of the country going to
you know,
Cheltenham, which was a disgrace.
It was absolutely
An absolute disgrace, you know.
And there were mistakes, you know, that were made. The nursing homes, lots of mistakes made there as well.
Yes, yes.
I was speaking to someone yesterday evening in relation to she's a home help. She got a pair of gloves. That was her work PPE given anyway. She had no mask, no sanitation, no nothing, you know. So a lot of people will start coming out, you know, in the next couple of weeks.
They will. I know. And it's a very sad reflection that the nursing homes, where there were hundreds of people maybe in a nursing home all over the country, now clusters. Just our deepest sympathy goes to all of the bereaved families that have gone through hell on earth since March, actually, or even a bit before it as well. One last point is this: if there are over 300,000 people unemployed and all, it's going to be very difficult for the government to find money to fund it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and where to find it? Are the EU going to step in, or is there going to be debt write down on countries? Can they afford to print?
Yes.
Print new money and, you know, support countries in relation to what grants they get. But yeah, it's a worrying time for us as a country as well, like, you know.
One thing I've heard finally, Ken, and it's a practical point, but the government never consulted pensioners or people on welfare or disabilities about a 2-week payment. And a lot of people now are going to Vincent de Paul and community welfare people in the Department of Social Protection across the country. And this is a story that the main media have not or refused or neglected to cover. But people now are finding it very hard. They get paid on a Thursday or Friday, their pensions or welfare, and 2 weeks later, they can't bridge that gap. That was very badly handled, that part of it.
I believe so, because, you know, when you're a pensioner, you get your pension, you manage your money on a weekly basis. You know, it's going to be a bit. Back to your point about people struggling for food. I was involved with Cork penny dinners, and we were distributing over 1,000 hampers a week to homes, and from the pensioner to the fit person that was a plaster on the building site, that was earning huge amounts of money. And then all of a sudden went from €1,000 a week to €350 a week. Bills were coming in, they were paying the bills, and, you know, the food was suffering then. And, you know, in fairness to Cork penny dinners, they
marvelous organisation.
Yeah, unbelievable. Katrina Toomey and the board of management and Cork penny dinners are just astronomical.
Yes.
I'm involved with the GA. I'm the treasurer of the local GA club, and we did our hall up and we use it as a food hub. So there was hampers being made from 10 in the morning till 10 at night, and they would be distributed across the whole city and county of Cork. But people, you know, people were hungry, and they are going to be continuing to be hungry because they can't afford to do what to do. You know, with their, you know, when you have a massive amount of money coming in 1 week, and all of a sudden 2 weeks later, it's gone.
Like
a pensioner, how do you manage? And it's very, very hard to manage.
Well, I think that the government's press officer or somebody, a minister for social protection, should have brought that case to the cabinet to say, well, look, this is grossly unfair. Can we manage it another way? Let's try and get a group of them where there's bank accounts and pay it in every week. I think that was grossly unfair. Very bad of the national media, including RT, that did not take that point up on behalf of the people. But sure, why am I not surprised? Ken, we're going to leave it there. A great pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much.
And I wish you well and all your members there. And as they say, we'll see politically how things will pan out. And I think certain aspects of the media nationally would want to get their head around the fact that the will of the people has not been entertained and has been taken on board by Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael for the wrong reason. So I would hope that Sinn Féin and the Democratic left and all the other independents could come together as an alternative voice. Then let the people decide or do something, you know. But I want to pay a special tribute as well to our public servants, because outside of our great doctors and nurses, they're doing a fantastic job. But so are the people in the various departments as well that are running the country, you know. And we want to pay a special tribute and a thank you to them.
Exactly, and I echo your sentiments there. The other thing is, you know, you have those people that the cleaner.
Yes, exactly.
The cleaner was a very, very important cog in the wheel of this country for the last 8 weeks.
Yes, yes.
You know, the sanitizer, the person that would, I suppose, that's been earning €10 an hour. I don't know. These people are heroes. They are truck drivers. They kept the country going.
Great people.
So along with the civil servants and school teachers, to be fair, stepped up to the mark. They had to change the way of teaching.
Of course.
I suppose we won't mention the leaving circle, you know, but I'm on the board of management of a school myself, and you know, the teachers did adapt and they did create.
They did, yes.
So you know, all those who stood up and were counted, you know, over the last 8 weeks were fantastic, and you have to applaud them.
Well, Ken, thank you indeed. Regards to you, your family, and all the people below that great city and county of Cork. And just that's from myself, John Prendergast, on the What Matters programme with LiRmedia.tv. Stay tuned a little later on for another great panel discussion. Don't know how Pat Barry compares the whole lot of 7 or 8 people. He's an absolute genius, but you cannot be serious. And that's coming up. And stay tuned also to further programmes on wild geese, because a lot of people are taking on board this up that can't make it home. They love to get the Irish programmes, and well done to Dr. Mary Honan and to our young students as well in the University of Limerick, who are hosting now their own sports programme. So between all of us, we're giving a great alternative programming of what people really want to hear. And we're not allied to any particular political party. We say our piece and we respect every opinion, including, can I say, one of my favourite people, Dr. or President Donald Trump. I'd be castigated for that. There were people actually on the radio earlier on that were actually comparing him to Goebbels and also Adolf Hitler. Let me tell you something about President Donald Trump, and I'll let you go with this. He's a Republican. He thinks for the American people. He has improved drastically the living standards of the ordinary human American man and woman in America. So let's give him credit where credit is due. Look, none of us can have halos around our heads, but he's a true American. That's the way I feel it. Now, I hate if you would bring back and relocate all the American pharmaceuticals, and he's planning on this if he gets elected in November, a huge surge of acceptance of his criteria for that. So we have rocky times ahead. Ken, I wish you well.
Thank you very much, John. It's been a pleasure. And
Gordon Mila Market, August Sloan from all here at LiRmedia.tv.
Slán.